Dear seeker, have you ever noticed that no matter how many meditation techniques you practice, the mind always seems to return with another thought, another worry, another story? You sit quietly and watch your breathing. You observe your emotions. You become aware of your thoughts passing like clouds across the sky. For a few precious moments there is peace. But then the mind begins speaking again. It whispers about the future, remembers the past, and creates new desires and fears. Then a strange question arises. If you are watching your thoughts, who exactly is the one doing the watching? And where does this sense of I come from? The ancient sage Ramana Maharshi said that this is the greatest mystery of human life. We spend years trying to control our thoughts while never asking who the thinker truly is. We polish the mirror of the mind, yet ignore the one standing before it. What if every fear, every desire, and every inner conflict is growing from a single hidden root, the simple feeling of I? And what if by tracing this I thought back to its source, you could discover a silence so deep that no suffering can disturb it? This journey demands no belief, no ritual, and no complicated philosophy. It asks only for courage, the courage to turn attention away from the world of changing experiences and toward the mysterious presence that has silently witnessed every moment of your life since birth itself. Tonight, dear seeker, we are not merely learning another meditation method. We are entering a sacred investigation into the very center of our existence. Together we will follow the path of self-inquiry and ask the question that has the power to dissolve every illusion and reveal the timeless truth of who you really are. Dear seeker, imagine standing beside a great river that never stops flowing. Day and night the water moves without rest. This river is your mind. Thoughts, memories, worries, hopes, and fears pass through it endlessly. Most spiritual teachings ask us to sit peacefully on the riverbank and simply watch the current. This practice is called mindfulness. It is beautiful and valuable because it teaches us not to be carried away by every thought that appears. We begin to understand that thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. We experience moments of calm and spaciousness. Yet Ramana Maharshi asked a question that changes everything. He said, if you are observing your thoughts, who is the observer? Who is the one that says, I am watching the mind? This question reveals a hidden limitation in ordinary mindfulness. Even when thoughts become quiet, there still remains a subtle sense of someone meditating, someone becoming peaceful, someone having a spiritual experience. The observer itself remains unquestioned. According to Raman, this observer is the root of the entire problem. Before there is a thought saying, I am happy or I am sad, there is a simpler thought, the thought I. This first thought is like the trunk of a great tree. Every fear, desire, and attachment grows from it like branches. Most of us spend our lives trimming the branches. We try to replace negative thoughts with positive ones, restless thoughts with peaceful ones. But the root remains untouched. Raman invited seekers to do something astonishing. Instead of chasing thoughts or merely watching them, he asked them to turn inward and discover where this feeling of I itself arises. For when the root is known, the entire tree of suffering loses its power and the mind naturally returns to its source in profound and unshakable peace. Dear seeker, close your eyes for a moment and watch the movements of your mind. A memory appears. A plan for tomorrow arises. A fear suddenly enters. Perhaps an old regret returns without invitation. Now ask yourself a simple question. To whom has this thought appeared? Immediately the answer comes, it has appeared to me. Then ask another question with complete sincerity. Who is this me? For a brief moment the mind becomes still. It searches for an answer but cannot easily find one. This silent gap is the doorway that Ramana Maharshi called self-inquiry. He taught that the ego is not a solid thing hiding somewhere inside the body. It is only a thought, the first thought, the feeling of I. From this single thought the entire world of personal identity is created. The I thought says, I am this body, I am this personality, I am my memories and my achievements. Yet everything it claims changes constantly. The body changes. Emotions change. Beliefs change. Even our deepest desires change with time. But something has remained present through every change. There is an awareness that witnessed your childhood, your joys, your sorrows, and every experience that has ever come and gone. That awareness itself has never changed. Ramana said this silent witness is your true nature. The tragedy of human life is that we mistake the passing thoughts for the one who knows the thoughts. We become fascinated by the waves and forget the ocean beneath them. Self-inquiry invites us to reverse this habit. Instead of following every mental movement, we gently turn our attention toward the one who experiences them. In doing so, we begin to discover that the separate self we defend and protect may be nothing more than a passing shadow upon the eternal light of consciousness itself shining silently within every heart. Dear Seeker, one day a devotee approached Ramana Maharshi and asked, Master, how can I attain liberation? The sage looked at him with great compassion and replied, Find out who wants liberation. The question seemed simple, yet it carried the power of a thunderbolt. Most of us believe that enlightenment is something we must achieve in the future. We imagine that through enough meditation, discipline, and spiritual experiences we will eventually become free. But Ramana pointed directly toward the seeker himself. Who is it that wants to become enlightened? Who is it that feels incomplete and seeks a better state? Every problem in life begins with the word I. I am suffering. I am afraid. I am confused. I need peace. Therefore, every spiritual search must eventually return to the one who says I. This is why Ramana gave only one essential practice, the question, who am I? But he warned seekers not to answer with ideas. The mind can quickly say, I am consciousness, I am spirit, or I am divine. These are beautiful concepts, but they are still thoughts. Self-inquiry is not thinking about the self. It is looking directly for the one who is thinking. It is turning attention back upon itself like a beam of light shining toward its own source. At first this seems impossible because the mind is accustomed to running outward toward objects and experiences. Yet with patient inquiry something extraordinary begins to happen. Thoughts lose their force. The feeling of being a separate person starts to weaken. A deep stillness begins to appear. In that stillness there is no seeker and nothing to attain. There is only pure awareness, silent, luminous, and completely at peace, waiting to be recognized as your own eternal nature beyond every thought and every name. Dear seeker, imagine a spider sitting at the center of its web. The web stretches in every direction, yet the spider always knows the way back to its source. Ramana Maharshi said that our thoughts are like the strands of that web, and the feeling of I is the spider that creates them. Every desire, fear, memory, and emotion begins from this central sense of being a separate person. Therefore, instead of fighting thoughts, he taught us to trace them back to where they arise. Whenever a troubling thought appears, pause for a moment and ask, to whom has this thought come? The answer immediately appears, it has come to me. Then ask again, who am I? At that very instant the attention turns away from the thought and moves toward its source. This is the heart of self-inquiry. It is not concentration and it is not repeating a mantra. It is the art of returning home. At first the mind rebels against this practice. It wants to chase memories, create plans, and continue its endless stories. Yet every time you bring attention back to the sense of I, the mind becomes a little quieter. The ego slowly loses its strength because it survives only when it is constantly believed and followed. Ramana compared this process to using a stick to stir a funeral fire. Eventually the stick itself is consumed by the flames. In the same way, the question who am I destroys the false sense of separation and finally disappears itself. Then there is no longer an individual searching for truth. There is only pure awareness resting in itself, silent and unmoving, like the vast sky that remains untouched while clouds endlessly appear and vanish within it, revealing the peace that was present from the very beginning of existence itself. Dear seeker, perhaps the most astonishing discovery on this path is that you are not trying to become the self, because you have never been anything other than the self. The sun does not need to learn how to shine, and the ocean does not need to discover that it is wet. In the same way, your true nature does not need improvement or transformation. It is already whole, complete, and perfect. Yet the ego creates a powerful illusion. It whispers that you are incomplete, that you need one more experience, one more teaching, one more lifetime before you can find peace. Ramana Maharshi gently exposed this deception. He said that liberation is not the gaining of something new. It is simply the removal of what is false. The separate self that struggles, fears, and seeks is only a thought that has been repeated for so long that it feels real. Through self-inquiry, this thought begins to lose its authority. Then a great revelation dawns. The seeker itself never truly existed as an independent entity. There was only awareness identifying with a temporary story. Imagine a man dreaming that he is lost in a dark forest. He searches desperately for the way home until suddenly he wakes up in his own bed. The home he sought was never far away. Likewise, enlightenment is an awakening from the dream of separation. When the false I disappears, nothing new is created. Instead, what remains is what has always been present: silent awareness, boundless peace, and love without opposite. There is no longer a person trying to reach truth. Truth alone remains. The search ends because the one who was searching has dissolved like mist before the rising sun, and in that sacred stillness you discover that your deepest nature has always been free, untouched by time, untouched by suffering, and untouched by death itself forever. Dear seeker, many people imagine that spiritual awakening must be accompanied by visions, supernatural powers, or extraordinary experiences. Yet Ramana Maharshi taught something far simpler and infinitely more profound. He said that true realization is to abide as the self, to remain as the silent awareness that witnesses all things without becoming entangled in them. Thoughts may continue to arise. The body may continue its daily activities. Joy and sorrow may still visit like changing seasons. But within there is an unshakable peace because you no longer mistake yourself for the passing movements of the mind. You know yourself as the awareness in which all experiences appear and disappear. This is why Ramana often taught through silence. His presence itself communicated what words could never fully express. He knew that truth cannot be captured by concepts because it is closer than every idea and more intimate than every experience. Dear seeker, the awareness reading these words right now is the very reality the sages have spoken about for thousands of years. It is not hidden in some distant heaven, nor is it reserved for a special few. It is your own deepest nature. The invitation of self-inquiry is simply to rest in that silent presence again and again until it becomes more real than every passing thought. Whenever fear arises, ask, to whom has this fear appeared? Whenever sorrow comes, ask, who is disturbed? Then gently return to the source of the I thought. In this way life itself becomes meditation. Every experience becomes a doorway back to the self. And one day you may discover that the peace you were seeking was never absent. It was silently shining within you all along, like the sun hidden behind passing clouds, patiently waiting to be recognized as your own eternal and infinite being beyond all change and limitation forever. Dear seeker, as our journey comes to an end, let us remember the simple yet revolutionary message of Ramana Maharshi. Beyond all techniques, beyond every philosophy, and beyond every attempt to control the mind lies a sacred invitation to know the one who is aware of the mind itself. Every time fear arises, every time confusion appears, and every time the world feels heavy upon your shoulders, pause for a moment and gently ask, who am I? Do not search for an answer in words. Rest in the silence that follows the question. That silence is not empty. It is filled with peace, presence, and the light of your own true nature. Perhaps the greatest discovery in life is not finding something new, but awakening to what has always been here. Dear seeker, if this message touched your heart, please share your reflections in the comments below. I would love to know what this question, "Who am I?" means to you personally, and whether you have ever experienced moments of pure inner silence. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with another soul walking the path of truth. And tell me, what spiritual mystery would you like us to explore in our next journey together? Your suggestions inspire future videos and help this community grow in wisdom and love. May your days be filled with the courage to look within, and may the question of self-inquiry become a lamp that guides you through every challenge. Remember, the truth you seek is not distant. It is closer than your breath and brighter than the rising sun that shines within forever. Until we meet again, may you abide in the silent self that shines beyond every thought, beyond every fear, and beyond every name. Jai Gurudev.